It's going to be, okay, before that, quick introduction about myself, sorry. So as Raz said, myself, Jeevarajan Kumar, and I am in Singapore. I work for Avanade Asia Private Limited as a solution architect. So day-to-day work involves Dynamics 365 customer engagement implementations, solutioning, and a little bit of Power Platform as well. Majorly Microsoft Power Automate and a little bit of Canvas app and portals, of course. And this is my Twitter ID and LinkedIn ID. Please feel free to follow me on social media. And in today's episode, today's session, I have introduction to customer insights. So where I'm going to just walk you through on why we need a customer insights and what is the purpose of using customer insights and how it helps the business. And we're going to explore the audience insights part of the customer insights. So we'll quickly go through data ingestion, unifications, measures, how to build the measure segments, and if possible, enrichments and prediction. And we'll see how to put this into an action. So once you have the unified customer profile, how are you going to utilize it with, in your business application and in your Canvas applications, So this is going to be, there are going to be lots of information. It's going to be an information overloaded session for sure. I'll try to go slow as much as possible. If I'm rushing too much, please feel free to let me know. I'll try to slow down my pace, because this whole setup, this just one part of this takes an hour, but here we are trying to crush everything into an hour. So that's why I had to rush. But please feel free to know if I'm doing not too fast. Okay, so what is the common problems in handling customer data? So today everything is all about data. So whichever organization or whoever holds lots of data, they are the one who's going to control the business, right? So with lots of data, now we got lots of data coming from different data sources. So now how are we going to handle that, right? So there are some common problems with collecting those kind of huge data from different systems. Like for example, we're going to have many versions of the same customer information coming from different sources, and business do not know who their customers are. They do not know who their priority customers. They do not know who is the VIP customers or customers that needs to given some preference as such. So which eventually might lead to poor customer experience. And also there are certain data governance challenges when you have the data coming from different system in different span of time. How are you going to keep the data up to date, and how it's going to be consistent? And also what exactly my customer looking for. Not all the customers are looking for same type of services that you offer, right? So certain customers will look for, it might be interested in different set of product, and the other customers will be interested in different type of product or services. And how we're going to offer the tailored services. So these are all, like common problems that we run into business today with huge customer data. So how the customer insights is going to be helpful here to fix their problems, right? Don't worry, there is not going to be much slides, to be honest. Probably we'll have 5 to 10 minutes, and then we can jump into the demo directly. So the customer insights is part of Microsoft's customer data platform, as you can see. So the customer insights will help us to eliminate the data silos and to bring in the customer data. So what happens is the customer insights will help to ingest specific data through multiple sources, and to have a 360, to build a 360 view of a customer inside as a single data source, so that the consumption application, whether it's Dynamics 365 or Power Platform or any custom application, can just focus on just consume one set of data, which will have all those data sources, and it could be from different data profile. So yeah. So if you talk from the personalized customer experience, as I said, based on when the moment you have the right data from different data sources, we can focus on what exactly the customer is looking for. We have a powerful AI capabilities, and which will give the data from what we have collected, and also common data that is available from different data sources through Microsoft Graph API as well, and to combine together, and we can predict and see what exactly the customer is looking for. And with that, so the customer insights offers two set of products. One is audience insights, another is enrichment insight. And for audience, we are going to focus on the audience insight. So the audience insight will help you to transform the business process. basically into customer-centric applications, and which can be utilized or consumed by Dynamics 365, marketing, sales, and other business applications as well. So the approach that the customer insights has is a three-step approach, I would say. Like first thing is about the data. So how we gonna bring in the data to customer insights to do the massaging, which is called a unification here. So the data can come from different data sources. As you can see, it can come from the POS system. It can come from web applications like e-commerce application, or it can come from different social media or your loyalty management system, or any outsourced data, or even the equipments data that's been thrown by the equipments itself, in case of IoT. And the next step, once the data has been consumed in customer insights, what it does is, the first step what we're going to do shortly is to ingest this data into the customer insights. And the moment we ingest the data, we do another approach called map and match. Basically, because the end objective of the whole customer insights is to build that 360 view of customer. So what does that mean? You're going to build a unified customer profile or a single data source which has been combination or the consolidation of different data sources that we see here. So to build this unified profile, there are certain processes needs to be done. So first thing would be, we will be identifying the primary keys from different data sources. And second, we will be matching the relevant data sources. For example, if you have contacts that you collected from your POS system, and they say the contacts you collected from your e-commerce system, and you need to merge both of them. So for that, you need to identify what is the related data sets that will be can be merged together. It can be a contact data, it can be a purchase history, or it can be reviews that's been given in different forums. So it will be matched, and finally it will be merged into one data source. And there's a three-step approach we're going to take. And after we do that, we can always enrich it with an external data sources, like for example, what your customer would prefer, or let's say a customer with this gender from this part of the world, from within this age range, what they would prefer to eat or what they prefer to buy. So these set of data can be collected from your own databases, which we collected from here, and also from an external third-party data sources, which can be consumed via Microsoft Graph API. And then we can run through the certain analytics, and also we can basically perform some actions on top of this data, and then we can expose this data to different data sources, different platform to consume and used. So which you'll see shortly. Okay, and the first and important thing is this whole process is going to be an iterative process. So it's not like once you do it, you leave it there. We can make it automatically to update whatever we have done, to basically to update the data source which you have consumed to a set of regular intervals, so that the data keeps flowing into our customer insights, get processed in our customer insights engine based on what we have done, and then throws out to the consumer applications, right? So this can be an iterative process. So as I just said, the first step would be ingesting data. Then we will do how to create a customer profile, and we'll see what is activities and how we build relationships between this data what we are ingesting, and then how we can enrich it, and then how we can build the KPIs for against the specific customer or specific business. And this is a quick high-level detailed architecture of how the customer insight works. As we just saw, the first box will start from the ingesting data from different data sources, and which will eventually create a customer insights entities, and then we can also perform certain actions as such here, and then it is being surfaced based on surfaced to the consumption layer through this set of processing layer and the API layers. So we will be actually going through all this, creating all these entities shortly, and we'll see how we can consume in different applications. So I have Dynamics 365 customer service and Power Apps. I don't have Power BI. I do have Flow. to see how this can be used in these 3 applications, right? Once we build it. Yeah, so this is what I just briefed shortly, just a few minutes before. So first step is going to be the data collection, and and then as part of data collection, we can do is as an individual data source, which can go through certain ETL process, or we can also do it directly from data sources like common data surveys, dataverse as such. And then once we do the data ingestion, so depending on the volume of the data we want to ingest, we will choose this basically this approach, right? Either we're going to go for the import data, or we're going to directly connect to the dataverse through like Azure Data Lake or something like that. And then the unification is the process which we're going to see. Let me stop talking here and let me just quickly flash my bring up my customer insights. Right. So the moment you when we sign up for the trial in customer insights, what's going to happen is it's just going to have a demo environment, okay? And you can see it's just a demo, it's a sample data. It has nothing to do with our business. But to give you a walkthrough, you can see that it basically says what is the overall churn ratio of my business. It's just a sample, but let me walk you through how we will build this as well. And it shows last like last 7 days, there's no change, and the churn ratio is 314 members. And then customers that are given a low review score is been like so and so, and then the customers with open cases and overall customers is 10K customers. And what is the average online spend of the customer? So when you say online spend, it can be from the e-commerce or other platforms as well. And then what is the average churn score, and the interest and the brands which can become from the enrichment, right? And if you go into individual customers, so this is basically a business specific data for your business. It's not specific to any individual customers. But if we see here, we have individual customer centric data. So if I go to a specific customer, you can see that the different the overall activity of the customer that comes from different data sources. So this is coming from an email, just as a review, and this is so this gives the overall activity, like what is the purchase a customer has made, what is the review the customer has made, what is the email the customer has sent, and what is the here's the purchase, here is the review that he has given, his email he has been sent to the system, so and so. And then you can also see that specific customer, what is the churn risk percentage, and what is the total online spend he's been done in last with us, and what is the number of online purchases he has done. And you can see based on this customer with his let's say his geographic region and his age, he's interested in so and so, and he's interested in so and so brands and so and so products. Okay, so to achieve this is actually unified customer profile in one liner, right? You have a complete set of the data that your customer has performed over a period of time from different data sources. You can see there are 51 email activity, 4 online purchase, 1 post purchase, 1 case been raised, and 4 website reviews has been given. This are all been done in different application or different platforms by this customer. So the end objective for us is basically to build this, and then, well, not end objective, I would say this is what we're going to build in part of the customer insight, and then we will be consuming this from different applications. So as you can see, this is the audience insight, and there is the other one called engagement insight, which we are not going to see today, and it's still in preview stage. And the audience insight is what we are interested to say today. Okay. And whatever you see here, if you see it says segments and it says business measures. So what are they, right? If I go to my slide again, so you can see there is segment and and the measures. So the measures is basically nothing but it will help you to better understand your customer behaviors and how the business is going to perform, right? We just saw that this particular business has this much of customers being, the spending ratio of the customer, and total customer and the churn ratio, and also overall how the business is performing, right? So coming back to the measures, so as you can see, how an individual customer is doing his purchase history or whatever it is, and then we can actually we can add more dimensions. Whatever I have is just one set of dimension, but we can have more dimensions. And segmentations is nothing but is a capability that enables a group or enables to find a customer or a group of customer, to what they're interested in based on their transactions they have done and the demographic and their behavior attributes, right? And then finally the enrichment that we saw here against a specific customer, which is this. So it's basically consolidating our internal customer data, what we have collected from different data sources, and also what we have collected from third-party services, and to show what would be the customers are interested in. Okay. And then with that, if I go back to my slide, so we will see. Okay, so the activities is this, and the enrichment is this, and segmentation is what we saw here. Okay, and this is measures. A measure can be for a business overall, or a measure can be for a specific customer. And then we got prediction, and to build in the activities, we need a relationship to be set, and measures we just saw. And yes, so we just now, okay, so we'll see how we, and we also have the refresh data. So basically the data sources can be refreshed automatically, right? So for the basically the customer service insight to be effective, we need to have set the automatic scheduled refresh so that the data stores get refreshed, and also the refresh can be smaller subsets, right? A kind of incremental refresh, or it can be a bulk input as well. So whether these data sources can be consumed in different applications via API or Addin. Today we're going to see how it's going to be consumed via an Addin in Dynamics 365, and also how it can be consumed to your Power Apps through a flow, or directly from Power Apps connector as well. So today we will be focusing on this this specific Addin, and also we will be focusing on Power Automate and the Power Apps connector. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this one. So let me just quickly go to the demo. So what happens is, whatever we see here is the demo data, and that's been provided by default. But what are we going to do is we're going to build data based on our business. So what you do is basically you just create a new environment, right? Okay, I don't have license, I already utilized one. So the moment you create, you're going to show, it's going to show, it prompt you to select a specific or pre-built industry that you can just pick, like automotive, banking, retail, consumer, like that, or you can just start with any default applications. Okay. The moment you come in, this unified profile will not be built. It will be just empty. It is going to prompt you a set of sequence steps, which I just showed you guys, right? So this is the step you do. First, we want to do ingest data, and then we see how we can build the customer profile, right? So this, to come to this stage, to build the customer profile, you need to first ingest the data and do this unification process. We first do this now, and then we will see how this is built, and later then we will see how this can be done. Okay, so if we go to our environment, the first thing you're going to do is to import the data from different data sources. So you can see that I have imported from certain free data sources that is available, which has been given by Microsoft. It's available anyone to consume it. I'll share the links of these data sources probably after this session. And then you can also see I have consumed data from Dynamics 365. So how I do that is, if you go to this, I to prompt you to just give a name, or you can see you can connect to a common data model, which should be connected by data lake, or you can directly connect to common data service, which is your Dataverse with the URL. So I'll just show you what are the options which is available to import the data from. So you can see you can consume it, the data from a file-based database like this, So what I have done is I just use my text data, which has been hosted in Azure separately, and then databases, whatever database we want to connect to, and then if it's Power Platform, we can connect to Power Platform Data Flow, and Azure, we can connect to blob storage, data lake, and then tables, and then SQL database. And then if it's online, you can also connect from different online services. If it's other services, as you can see, it can be any web API, a SharePoint list, ODBC connector, etc. So what I've done is basically I have gone and I've just used Microsoft free data, the sample data for typical retail purchases, and just I used it for this demo. So you can see I have just added 3 data for this. In fact, this is just sample that comes with the customer inside, but I imported these 5, and then I also imported this from my Dynamics 365 customer service. So how I did this, if I just quickly give you an example. Oh, we're running out of time. Okay, so the moment I giving the what I can do is I can transform or massage the data even before ingesting, right? You can see that. So I can just choose how I want to before ingesting, how can I massage the data. So for example, let's say this is if this was text, I can just make it it's basically a Power Query, right? So you can just give what data type it is going to be. If it's let's say state, then it's just like text. If it's a number, you can give a number. If it's a date time, you can choose a date time, right? If it's a currency, you basically you choose a currency. For example, let's assume this is a currency. Probably I'll just choose currency, and you can see data has been changed to currency. But here in this case, we are not doing that, and I just enter the name, and then you can save it. The moment you do it, system is gonna take a while to refresh it. First time it takes a time, but the moment you do that, it will be the moment you insert a data source, you can see that from your entities. So for example, let's say I import this data from the POS, you can see that blob storage, you can see that will be stored as a entity here. So if I click here, you can always go and see the data, what is the data has been imported. Okay, so if you see here, I also imported data from like 5 different data. And also I have imported data from my customers, from my Dynamics 365, which is here. Oh, sorry, not this one. Right here. Right. So this comes from my Dataverse. All right. So what happens is the moment you do all this data source import, the next step or immediate step you should do is unify. And so what happens is, interestingly, if you try to go and you see the unified profile, it will be incomplete. It will say first step is done, which is import data. Second step is unifying the data. So we're gonna do that second step, which is a three level step. The first level is mapping the data. So so what is the objective of this step is to basically tie up 2 different data sources but a similar data together, right? So you can see here I'm trying to find the customer data from 2 different data sources. One is from my loyalty management system, and other is from my e-commerce system. So what I've done is I've created a primary key. I've chosen a primary key, and I've tried to map my source type with the type that a customer inside can understand. Most of the time, automatically, the system is smart enough to map it to the right one. But if you cannot, you can always go and choose what you want to do. Let's say it's a created on, and you can say what data type is going to be, right? It's basically a date time type, right? So if you go here, you can see a date, something like that. I'll leave it for now, and you can see customer for it has the same thing. And then I've chosen the primary type, and from the Dynamics 365 contact, I have just picked certain attributes that I wanted, and I just left rest which I don't want. So you can always go and add the more data entity and more field from already chosen entity as well. So you can see if I feel like I need to bring in I need to add more data to my unified customer profile, I can always go and add it here. Okay. So once you do that and once you save it, next step we'll be doing is matching the data. So what is matching data? So if you see, let's assume I have my contact from e-commerce. I have contact my loyalty. So when you do this, the moment there is going to be If you see this column, right, interestingly, you can see the source record is, each of them has 5,000 records. And what we are trying to find here is what is the unique records, what are the records is in match, right? So if I click on this, I'll show you what it means. So if you see this here, you see the same person, but when he entered from e-commerce, he have given his name as it is here, full name and his contact. But you can see in loyalty management, it could be a typo, or he just threw up some random name here, right? Winfried was like Zinner, something like. But the system was capable enough to understand based on his email that these two folks are same. I mean, the two names are from the same folk. And you can see here he has changed the first name, last name, and but it's literally 100% match. This is 86% match. So based on the email, system was able to deduct that it's the same guy, even though he just gave some junk data, right? So if I go to a further thing, which is like really least match, like here 71. You can see if I take 71, you can see the whole first name is kind of different, but based on the email it picked up. If you don't give emails, still system will try to find out as well. So, but in my case, I've just given both the email and the full name as a matching criteria. So what I did is, you can see, I've chosen the primary entity as the e-commerce entity, and I've chosen the field full name from that e-commerce database, and I've chosen the second entity as my loyalty management entity, and then I have chosen what is the field that's going to match. And then I can also create a normalize. I can specify on what basis the database has to be normalized. In this case, I just chosen of type, which is commonly used for phone number, name, and address. And here's the interesting fact. There is something called precision. So what does that mean? So you can say that it has different levels, right? I can say low, or I can make it medium, or I can keep it high, or exact match. So if I give exact match, system will expect, it tries to match the name, full name from this system to the other system. And if it's exact match, only then the system will consider it as a match, and only that it will keep it in your, it will keep it as an individual customer. Otherwise, it will identify it as two different customers. So let's say if you're talking from industry like banking, or maybe like highly sensitive scenario, you should be using either, it's preferred to use either high or exact instead of medium or low. Let's say it's just about a loyalty, or about some charity, which is without any financial dimension. Of course, you can use like a low or medium precision. In this case, I've just chosen a low precision. That's why you see almost like most of them have been matched. If I give a high and run it, you can see the match records will be considerably dropped. So and you can also add multiple fields like this. If I want to add more field, I can just keep adding more fields to the same. You can see if I want to, let's say I also want to match it based on the country, I can just do that as well, or a postal code, or like a city, like that. So for this case, I've just chosen full name and email. And once you do that, and tomorrow if you bring in another database or data source, you can again go. You can see first I added these two, and then I added Dynamics 365 contacts, and then I try to match my e-commerce with my Dynamics 365 in terms of first name and email, and try to run a match. And once you do this, you save this and you run it, the system will know, it will identify the matching records between these two, the contacts and contractors, contacts and the from the different databases. And then the last step of this unification process is the merge. So what happens is, now the system has identified that you have three different records for the same customer coming from three different databases here in this case. So we need to let the system how to merge, right? So if I go and edit it, so you can actually say that, like here, that just pick the first name from different databases and try to compare it and merge it. And if you don't want to do, you can just exclude it. And you can, within the merge, you can also actually, okay, before that you can also give a priority here, and also after that, within that you can give priority which systems, let's say which system is more reliable in this case. if you think that your loyalty management system has more reliable data than, sorry, your e-commerce system has more reliable data than loyalty management system, you can keep it high. If you think dynamics can have more reliable data than that, I'm gonna just make it bring it down and take it as a top. So which means based on this ranking, the system will give the priority, and then it will try to merge based on that. At the end of this, after all these things, you will have this beautiful unified customer profile. Okay, so with this, so far, any questions or any doubts? Okay, sorry, I think that will take time. So I will just you can please feel free to drop your questions or doubts in the chat. We will have a few minutes at the end of the session. I think that is faster. Yeah, so once we do that, we have basically completed this step. So the second step is you can see, right, all of this, we just completed this, and this is a time consuming step, by the way, so don't worry. So I'm not going to go in detail of each and every one of this. And next what happens is now you want to, let's say your data analyst or your business analyst want to go and pick anyone from search from here, right? As you can see, there are 5,000 customers, and definitely I don't want to search. I just want to search like whatever thing I want to give. Like for example, I can search from the, if I expand one of these, you can see I have loyalty ID here, I have contact ID and date of birth and name, right? So if I just want to search, so to enable the search, there is something you have to do, which is search and filter index. This is our second step we have to do. By default, the product do add certain fields, commonly used fields, but you can always go and add whatever the fields that you want to pick that you think that the user is going to be search the record against. So you can see I just mentioned full name, last name, date of birth, telephone, postal code, street address, so on. So, and if I want to search the customers based on the city, I can always go and pick. So you can see there are 15 customers from Boston, and it's not that slow. It's very impressive. It's quite faster. And if you want to pick any customers with, let's say, loyalty ID starting from maybe 50. 7. Okay, let me just get this right. So it's going to have 5 customers, 100 customers, you can say, starting with 50, right? So something like that. So this is the second step of it. And then once you have done it, you basically define the activity. So to build, if I open this, once you have done this, when you open a customer, you will not see all of this. This is not the best example. Probably I'll just take a good one. It's more activity. Population. All of them have only one activity. Okay, never mind. So when I open a customer, right, this will be empty. You're not going to see any activity. You are not going to see any of these things. It's only this left side and whatever you see here. So the third step, what we're going to do is we're going to build the activity here. So to do that, as a prerequisite of that, first let's build a relationship between the entities, right? Now, okay, that's an interesting fact in this. So the moment you complete a unification, you're going to see more more entities being created behind the scene for you. So if you see, you will, after you're done with your unification, you'll have this guy. This is our hero. This is the unified customer profile. So which is basically consolidated from different databases, having a single customer. So this, so the moment when you do every single activity, you can see that the customer insights is creating an entity and storing in the record so that it can be consumed from the consumer applications. So after we do the activity, we will have this unified activity here. So for that, let's first go and build a relationship. So it's very straightforward, pretty straightforward database or database stuff. You just go, and if I open one of the relationship, you can see all I did is I just chosen the left side of the table, left side entity and right side entity. I've given what is the relationship it will be related to. So you can see, okay, before going to this one, I just pick the one without a customer insight. Yeah, I'll take this. So you can see that one customer contact can have multiple website reviews, and that's what it says, 1:n, right? And what is the primary key and foreign key? And if you see this is a customer insight table itself. What does that mean? These things came from my different data sources, but this thing come from the customer insights table itself, which I just showed you now. This is the unified customer profile. So you can also build relationship on top of your unified customer profile as well. So that's what this relationship is about. So it says one unified customer that we got can have obviously multiple purchases done from e-commerce or different data sources, right? So you can see I have built a relationship from my unified profile to e-commerce purchase and unified profile to POS purchase here. The moment you do it, let me go and build the activity. So what are the different activities that we can see in our activity window? Purchases, website reviews, and like different stuff. So if I show you one of this thing, so you can just name it and you choose the entity. Here I've chosen the website, and then I've given the primary key. And the next step will be a foreign key, which entity you want to build that activity, pull it from. I have given it from the e-commerce contact, and then you can see the type of activity I'm going to pull, whether it's going to be a activity type or review or rating. It's the activity type in this case, and then on what timestamp. It's a review date, because based on whenever they given a review, I'm going to pull that particular activity. And then what additional detail I want to show. It's a review text, right? It can be review rating or nothing. It can be review test. I just entered review test, and you can choose your icon, and then you save it. You will have your precisely the same thing what you can see here. You can actually, the moment you try to build it, you can see your sample here. Actually, this interface has developed a lot. It's become much better than what I have seen a few months back. And it's definitely worth to play around. I know it's free. 30 days trial is free. Please feel free to play around with that. The moment you do that, you have to run it. So most of the operations which we are doing, we'll be saving and running, and each of these are going to take considerable amount of time, minutes of time, not seconds. Okay. So please make sure when you try it, you have that sufficient time to try it out. That's why I'm not able to build anything from the scratch, because if I do that, the unification itself is going to take an hour for me to do that. So the moment you have built the activities, you will have this guy populated here. So we are actually trying to build a complete body or a person. The moment you build this, you now have this once you publish the activity. Now still, this KPIs or the measures that we are doing are still going to be empty, or that there is not going to be any tiles at all. To do that, first thing you do is you come to the measures, and it's very straightforward. You just create a new. You can choose anything from the existing template. There are a list of templates available. The product offers, and you can just like general templates, right? You can pick it and modify it if you want. If that doesn't suit your business, always feel free to go and build your own. So, for example, if I open one of this average web purchase, you can see that I added an attribute from 5 different data sources that we have built, right? And you can see this is the customer insights unified profile. This is e-commerce and loyalty, so and so. So what I've done is for online, I've just taken the average price of the online purchases. So here it will have a total price. So I've just given it here, and this can be extended or with complex calculations. You can do like an average or whatever it is, right? You can combine multiple databases, data values like this. So I go and put like this, something like that, and I can keep adding it. Okay. With that, yeah, you can also bring in more dimension. Like, okay, I have to create a new one to do this. So basically, this is to give you different, like group your values on certain thing. Like say you can group it based on your maybe a region or a gender, something like that. And then you can also filter. So this is one interesting. These are all new stuffs the platform has brought in, which I really like. So when you see filter, basically it says, let's say you have a null value, how are you going to replace that, right? It's something like that. So if I just probably just pick one of this, you can see, let's say if it's equal to, what is it? It's empty, right? So what you're going to do? And it's not, what you're going to do, something like that. So, and then you choose relationship path. The thing is, with the moment when we have multiple databases, each of them can have its own relationship. So you choose which is the fastest path that the system should pick it up, and you can save it and run it. The moment you do it, let's say the moment I complete these folks, I can just see that being populated in my customer beautifully like this. Okay, so with that, if I can go back to my slide, what we have done is basically we have done this, and in fact this measures. So two more things is enrichment and segment. So segments, right? So segments is basically, as I just said, it gives the business an overall perspective of the data or the KPIs or the behavior of the customer based on the region or the different stuff. So if you see, if let's say I want to build a segment for the summer promotion, right? For example, let's say, so how it's going to look like. See, I can do like this. So what I've done is I've taken the average store purchase of my unified customer profile, and then I have just see whichever. Let's say, okay, it's like this. Let's say I'm gonna think about a scenario where I'm gonna target a marketing campaign or something like that, campaign or something like that, to customers who have done the overall store purchase, which is above $120 or $150, whatever it is, based on your business. And eventually you will have this set of customers, and then you can run your marketing campaign from your Dynamics or other stuff like which one of our speakers just showed before a few hours, right? Something like that. From there, you can just use this data to do your marketing promotion. And if you expand this, you can see that there are 777 members who are satisfied this. So what is this? It's basically I have a unified profile who have done a custom web purchase above $100 specific dollars, and who's been born after a certain day, whose data. Basically, I'm trying to get the specific audience, with the specific age group to do some activity or to take some action on top of that. This is where it gets interesting, right? Now we have done the unified profile. Now we started making use of those valuable data in terms of segment and measures. So it's not whatever things we're going to see, it's not just going to stay within this particular application, then there is no use, right? It's have to come out of this application to a consumer application, of course. So before showing how it's been consumed in a consumer applications, I circle back to the entities and I'll show you what the system is doing. The moment I build some segments, you see it's creating an entity or data or table, whatever you call, for that specific segments and measures as well. Okay. Now, and if I go back to my slide, we have successfully completed everything except this guy, which is enrichment. So what is enrichment? If I go here, I think I don't have yet here, but it's pretty straightforward. So if let's say if I wanna go enrich my database based on the brand, what I can do here is, I can just choose this thing, and I can choose what industry my customers would be looking for, or no, like let's say consumer and electronics, right, in this case. And if I just choose Microsoft, it's funny that Microsoft didn't add it by default, but yeah, then I just choose new. Let me add more stuff if I want, right? So you got the idea, right? So basically we can just keep adding, and then you basically say next, and then you complete it, and then you finish this. End of this, what you will have is, as I just showed in the demo data, once you have your enrichment, it's going to basically add more stuff to your customer profile like this. Okay. And with that, we have successfully covered the basics of the customer insights, how the whole unified profile is done. And next thing is, interestingly, to see how this guy can be consumed in my Dynamics or Power Platform. Without that, there's no point of doing this whole stuff, right? I just taken Dynamics 65 and Power Apps because that's what I do, but it can be any application, consumer application with the API, web APIs and so stuff. So apologies for that, first of all. For some reason, I don't know, my things keep crashing and it's not showing up here. Ideally, what happens is my unified timeline will be shown here, like what exactly I see in the customer insight, the same stuff will be shown here, and the demographic like this, right, will be shown here. So our sales team or service team or marketing team, whoever is going to use, they can see the customer insight data from there to here. As always happens, there is something messed up at the last moment of the demo, but I'm going to show you what is the step to do that, right? the first step that you do is to basically import Addin. There is an Addin. Let me show what is that. Okay, I have only 10 minutes more. I'm going to finish this demo in 5 minutes and have 5 minutes for questions. So this is the application that I can download from App Source, which is called Customer Insights Card. The moment you import that app, and you have to log in with your credential, right? It could be different Active Directory or same Active Directory. In my case, it's the same. I just use the same ID. And you can see my Customer Insight environment will be pop up here. And the moment I do that, I can choose okay, you can either do for a specific contact if your business is focused on B2C, or you can choose a customer, a company if your business is focused on, if you can choose account if your business is focused on a company, okay, a B2B. In this case, I try to do for B2C. So I've chosen a contact, a key basically on which my whole dynamics or Dataverse is going to prefer. And the moment I save this is the first step. And second step we have to do is, let me see if I have this form editor open. Oh no, I closed it. Sorry about that. So what you have to do is basically we have to create the forms. Like you can copy the existing form and do it, and then just add any field for that matter. It doesn't matter. So sorry, I'm just using the traditional, the old classic UI, but we can use anything. Since I'm here, I don't want to spend time to go there and into the modern UI and take it up. So let me just quickly show what we are supposed to do. After that, downloading the add-in and configuring the add-in, and then created the form. You added the form to your apps, your site navigation, and then you open that form. Let's say this is my form, right? Come on. Yeah. So if you see, I've just added. You can just add any text field for that matter. I've just added address, city. Right? I can add anything actually. So the moment you add it, and you have to go to the control. Anyways, this is I think available only in classic UI now, so I have to come here anyways. So the moment I open the text edit text control, you go to the controls. By default, you're going to see only this, right? And what you have to do is you pick the control. So you can see you have all the option to choose a custom control. So here the customer insights will be shown as well. So like this, right? So I can see my measures, my timeline, my demographic, my enrichment, so on, so right. So if I pick customer measures in this case, just for example, right, I just give you what are the different thing I want to do. Same, you just follow the same for other data that you want to pull from the customer insights, and then eventually you save it and publish it, and bingo, then you go to the contact form, it shows up. I think it's because my tenant is still tied to the previous customer insight. I think there's some issue with the connection. I have to sort it out, to be honest. I think that's the issue, if I can understand. All right, so once you do that, you have your data shown in your business applications or model-driven apps for that matter. And the next thing I want to do is basically to show that it can be consumed from the flow as well, right? So if I just pick one of my flow that I just playing around. So if I go and because end of the day it's all stored as an entity in the Dataverse. What we saw in the customer insight, we can always go and access that in the flow as well. Okay. So let me just connect it from Power Apps to make it simple. My Canvas app. So if you see here, again, I just piggybacked on the the application that is being provided by Microsoft in the AID for that. It's a simple one, and to show this application. So first, let me start with the demo, and I'll show you what it's doing behind the scene, right? So if I pick the contact. So you can see now the system, you can see the loyalty ID is coming from, it's not just from one database like loyalty management system. It is coming from a unified profile, which we put our blood and sweat to build that now in the customer insight. So this is coming from this unified profile, and that's why you have your loyalty management ID and email ID from maybe some other system. and then you can see it will actually show your whole activity as well that we have done, that the customer has done in different data sources over the period of time. And you can see the measures that we have built can be seen from here as well. So imagine a scenario, there is no specific scenario, right? Any scenario, talk about customer user experience. In this case, it basically talks about if you're going for a coffee shop and the moment you tap in or use your membership card, the store person can pick your record and he can see what is your points, what is your store purchase that's been done, what is your activity, and she or he can basically give you a good promotion on, or not to give you or she can eventually know that what is your preferred food or coffee that you like picky like me, and then she can offer you the best personalized customer experience which we just saw, right? And eventually she can also check in from here. So when you check in from here, it will connect to the flow and then a Power Automate, and then it pushes to your database, and then it becomes a whole, like a connected system. Eventually, then your activity will be added to here automatically. Well, this is to give you the overview of what is the possibilities or how the data can be consumed. So how it's been done, it's very straightforward, guys. So if I go to the home screen, right, again, so I go to this gallery. So if I pick this gallery, you can see that, okay, let me just show you data source first. So like adding any other data source, we can add the data source of the customer insights as well, okay? So if I go and add a new data source, if I pick the customer insight, eventually what happens is all these things, that's why I was just giving the cue about these entities. End of the day, whatever we have built, whatever we have created is stored as an entity. So you can just query or you can just consume any of this from the entity, okay? And that's what you see here. Okay, I'm gonna build a demo, right? Let me go to mine, yeah. So which means even though it is not showing literally here, you can just enter your custom table name and query. So what does that mean? I can just enter like customer measure, and then I can just put the same name here, and eventually that will be added as well as a table, as an entity. So this gallery, the data sources, you can see it's from the customer. This is nothing but a unified customer profile, okay? And then for in this screen, so I have unified gallery, which is coming from a unified activity. If you remember what is unified activity, this is the guy, okay? So unified activity brings in all the unified activity of the different systems, and it shows here. And if I go to this one, so this is what? This is customer measure. So we had a bunch of measures here, right? So one of our measure is the store, the average store purchase, and this one is club points. So you can just query, you can pick anything, any parameter from that measures, okay? And then yeah, and that's the I'm already past 1 minute. So and there are more options as well to surface the data and pick in, like Microsoft Teams is straightforward integration with Microsoft Teams as well. You can try it out, and then the API, so and so. So with that, I would like to end the session. I know I've taken lots of time. Sorry about that. And I just have 4 minutes left for the questions.
Thanks a lot, Jivaraj. Okay, so we have one question with us. Let me quickly read it.
Yeah.
So Ali is
Yes.
asking, is the connection to the data source in real time, or it is a snapshot?
Yeah, so the connections are snapshots, right? So you can see that's a scheduled refreshes that you can do it in which will be pushing only the delta data like that. Real time, that's a good question. I haven't tried real time. I'm not sure the latest versions already. It's been latest releases have that. I need to check, to be honest.
All right. So we don't have any other questions, Jiva. I think it's a great representation of how you can provide the rich customer profiles and the 360-degree view of the customers in Dynamic 365. So I think thanks for the great demonstration. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Preet, Raz, and again everyone for the session. Listening calmly. I know it's too much of information. It was faster session. I know that it's a quicker session, but I had to do this to cover the overall product to give an introduction. But please feel free to explore. There are good contents available in Microsoft document, and play around with it. It's something it's very useful for enterprise businesses.
Definitely. Yeah. So it will be great if you can share your contact details in the chat. So if
Absolutely. Oh, sorry about that. I'll do that.
no worries. All right. So we have still 2 minutes left. If anyone is having still any questions related to the custom insight? So Sakib is saying great overview. Thank you. Vicky is saying great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are getting good feedback. Yes, would it be possible to get the copy of presentations? So I'm gonna upload my PPT on my YouTube channel. So just give me a few moments. I'll upload it at and
Yeah.
will update you. Yep. And all the recordings will be uploaded on the Power Community YouTube channels in couple of weeks. All right.
Yes.
So no other questions. Thanks a lot, Jiva, once again. Thanks a lot and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll just
Thanks.
stay on mute and listen to the other sessions.
Sure, sure. Thanks.